The true and thrilling story of Sadhu Sundar Singh, the Apostle of the Bleeding Heart. What things are gain to me, those I counted loss for Christ, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ. Philippians 3:7. There is no breath of my soul, no hope of eternal life, but in the cross. He died for thee on the cross, that thou mayest also bear thy cross and love to die on the cross. Thomas A. Kemp. This book is signed by Sundar Singh himself in his own handwriting. This book has 111 pages. An appreciation of the love gift with which Christ's younger brother has enriched the world. This volume is mainly indebted to the loving labors of Alfred Zahir, Z-A-H-I-R, B.A., our brother in the Christian faith, who spared no pains in compiling A Lover of the Cross, which was the title of the first authentic account of Sundar Singh's life and work, and which forms the foundation of every subsequent record, Sadhu career, but which, clothed as it is with the picturesqueness of Eastern imagery, has never been equaled for beauty of diction, and, indeed, can never be approached by any Western writer. Truly, our dear brother, Alfred Zahir, has built gold, silver, and precious stones into the foundation of Jesus Christ, who, when he comes bringing his reward with him, will bestow eternal glory upon his servant for that work of love. Melbourne, 1920. Chapter 1. Introduction. From scheme and creed the light goes out. The saintly face survives. The blessed Master none can doubt, revealed in his holy lives. Whittier. Sundar the Sadhu. A human life filled with the presence and power of God is one of God's choicest gifts to his church and to the world, are the opening words in biography of George Mueller. And no one who reads the following pages will venture to deny that this is magnificently true in the life which has been portrayed in the pages of this little book. One hypocrite may make 100 infidels, but one devoted life will bring many, perhaps thousands, to the feet of Jesus. Sundar Singh, of whom the book is to speak, is a Christian sadhu, or itinerant evangelist of the Punjab, the land of the 5 waters. The word sadhu is a term of great respect in India, and designates that special class of religious men who renounce the world and its attractions in the quest of something higher and nobler to satisfy the longing of their souls. Whether the end is ever obtained is very doubtful, but the very desire hallows the vocation, and a sadhu is looked upon as a very embodiment of all that is good and great in religion. But heathenism has no power, and the highest of its aspirations soon drift down to the lowest of motives. That is the reason why now the world, Sadhu very often suggests an idler and a rogue. Only those who have found Christ can give a higher and nobler interpretation to the word sadhu, by seeking not to save themselves, but others, by searching not for bread, but for souls, and by enduring hardships, not to die, but to live in and for Christ. For is it not the most profound of Christ's revelations that all sacrifice of self and all labor for righteousness without love are of no avail? It is his true disciples' love of saving souls which most testifies to the truth of their religion. Sundar Singh, then, who is a devoted disciple of his master, is a real sadhu. He goes about touring over the length and breadth of India, enduring all manner of hardship and facing all kinds of perils and privations, almost blinded by his passionate zeal to serve his master, and like a maniac in his quest for souls, he has no home and no permanent abode. The love of his master, as he says, constrained me to leave them all and follow him. He dresses after the manner of Indian fakirs, Fakirs, in a long linen robe, generally of a saffron color, but sometimes pink, with a thin blanket thrown across his shoulders and a small turban to cover his head. He wears no shoes, and his only accessories are a copy of the New Testament, Urdu, and a handful of pamphlets and handbills for distribution. This is Sundar's dress throughout the year and for all parts of India, and he thinks as little of wearing anything warm in winter as he does of wearing shoes when traveling through thorns or thickets. He will never accept any more or better clothes than these, nor even wear shoes, for even as his bleeding feet he attracts men to Christ. The day I became a Sadhu, I was wedded to these garments, he once said, and I will never divorce them of my own will. To all outward appearance he looks anything but strong, and yet he is seldom ill. He is tall, sparse of body and supple of limbs. His very countenance is edifying, such a sweet and calm devotion appearing in it, and beaming with such a smile of inward happiness as cannot but affect the beholders. He became a Sadhu when he was a mere boy of 16, and now he has been serving the Lord for over 23 years, exactly in the same spirit of earnestness, zeal, humility, and self-denial in which he started. Whenever asked how long he intends continuing in this way, he invariably replies, "For as long as I am in this world, I have vowed my life to him, and his grace abiding, I shall never break this vow." My friend, my brother, and my Lord, what may thy service be? Nor name, nor form, no ritual word, but simply following thee. The life of an Indian Sadhu is a life of rigorous and selfless discipline, fresh with dangers and temptations of all kinds. It is a life of daily hardship, self-sacrifice, and humiliation. It is a life in which body and brain both are exposed to excessive wear and tear, such as beyond the very conception of a Westerner. It is not a life which every strong and healthy man can easily live for a long time, and much less a delicate and daintily nourished person like Sundar Singh. This naturally makes us wonder how it is that Sundar has stood it so long and so heroically, and the best answers can only be found in the Lord's own promise. Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. Joshua 1:9. The Eastern conception of simplicity goes much deeper than the Western. Simplicity in the East means almost self-torture and sacrifice of the least of pleasures and comforts, and complete resignation of oneself to God's care. And this is the life which Sundar is living, a life of absolute reliancy on divine providency. He is actually burning out for God, toiling, striving, and driving, knowing that he must work the works of him who has chosen him while it is day, for the night cometh when no man can work any more. Certainly no missionary can aspire to a higher qualification than his work for the possession of such a spirit of willing sacrifice, in the sense of endurance of hardship as a good soldier, and of surrender of all devotions to comfort and ease. Sundar is not a sadhu, in the sense perhaps some Hindus would expect him to be, for he comes himself to any state or condition that he has to put up with. He is a true sadhu, in the sense that whether good or bad, he is prepared to accept anything and everything. A coarse, crusty, chapati, Indian loaf, is as welcome to him as it is an unctuous meal of pilau and parathas, two dainty Indian dishes, and an ice-cold stone floor maketh a luxurious a bed for him, as a thickly padded and doughy sofa. Everything and anything for his sake is his principle in life. A Christian turning in aesthetic sounds as incredible to some as it is a revelation of the power of Christ to others. The term Christian in India is regarded as a synonym for worldliness. Hence, if men like Sundar Singh hath done nothing else, they have at least proved to the non-Christian world that Christ is not all comfort, and that while he has the power to lift nations to the very zeal of material prosperity, he also has the potency to inspire individuals with a fervent spirit of perfect self-denial and self-sacrifice in the service of men and God. The following quotations from the letter of a Hindu inquirer proves the truth of our statement. I did not know till I saw Swami Sundar Singh that there are also men among the Christians who can be called sannyasins, those who have renounced the world. It might here be urged that no one, not even an Indian, and much less a European, should ever lunge upon the career of sadhu at the impulse of a passionate heart or a world-weary soul, nor should the ambitious to command the gaping admiration of the whole world by some extraordinary action be interpreted as a call from God, as has unfortunately been done by some in the past, much to the harm of the cause of Christ in India. Some, as proved by the following quotation, undoubtedly adopted this life in real earnestness, with the sincerest of motives, and with the fullest advantage that in doing so they were truly obeying God's call. In the eyes of the average Indian, no work for God surpasses the dignity and sanctity of the sadhu life. Hence it is that the failure of those who once embrace it results in disrespect and ridicule both of themselves and their religion. No one then should ever contemplate this life, unless, like Sundar, he can say from his heart, I have vowed my life to him, and his grace abiding, I shall never break this vow.